Hey guys, Mr. Yaisley here. So we're on to lesson number 7 in chapter 4, all about writing linear functions. And so lesson number 7 is going to talk about writing equations in point-slope form when given 2 points on the line, right? So that's what these examples are specifically going to talk about and show us. So what I want to talk about here is that they didn't specifically say, hey, I want you to get it down to slope-intercept form. But we are going to go over that, all right, just to show how to get it down and get a little bit of practice in on that. But really what we're working on is using that point-slope form. So a reminder that point-slope form, right, when we look at it, when we're talking about point-slope form, we're talking about the y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Now, we are, as I said, going to show us how to get to slope-intercept form. All right, so we're going to work on how to get it down to slope-intercept form from the point-slope form. All right, so let me move that over so you can see that better. All right, so we're going to talk about that. And then remember, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Now, the reason we have to start in point-slope form, what's a little bit different than one of the lessons we did earlier, is they've given us 2 points. But what you're going to see in these 2 points is neither of them is the y-intercept. So I can't just find the slope and then plug in the information for b because I don't know what the y-intercept is. So I am going to use the slope formula because I've got 2 ordered pairs. And so remember, slope formula is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I am going to use that to figure out how to solve these. All right, to find its slope, but I don't have the y-intercept, so I'm going to have to plug it into point-slope form first. All right, so let's take a look at these 4 examples, 2 of them written as normal ordered pairs, 2 of the examples written as functions, which we learned about earlier, how to get those into ordered pairs, so we'll do that when we get there. So example A, they gave me 2 ordered pairs of 1, 4 and 3, 10. So the first thing I need to do is I need to figure out slope. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to label these points as x1, y1 and x2, y2. And then I'm going to plug them into my slope formula of m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I've got m equals y2, which is 10, minus y1, which is 4, over x2, which is 3, minus x1, which is 1. And then I need to simplify it down. So 10 minus 4 is 6, over 3 minus 1 is 2, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. So my slope is 3. Well, I now have my slope. I don't know the y-intercept, so I've got to go into point-slope form, and I do have an x1 and a y1 because I already labeled those, so I'm going to use that information to figure this out. So I'm now going to plug it in. I've got y minus y1, again, was 4, equal to m, my m was 3, times x, that stays the same, minus my x1 was 1. End of my parentheses. So if all we had to do, all they want to know is the point-slope form, we would stop right there and you would be good. This is in point-slope form, doesn't need to be simplified because I don't have any of those double negatives or any zeros involved, so we are good. Right? But we're going to get the practice in on how to go from point-slope form into slope-intercept form of y equals mx plus b. So now I want to work on simplifying that down. So the first thing I need to do to simplify down is the multiplication and getting rid of this parentheses through distribution. So 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. And that's all equal to y minus 4. Then I need to get rid of the 4 on this side, so instead of subtracting 4, I'm going to add 4 to both sides. And when I do that, that cancels, and I'm left with y equals 3x, and then I've got negative 3 plus 4, which is positive 1. So to get it all the way to slope-intercept form, it becomes y equals 3x plus 1. All right, well, I'd encourage you to try example B now on your own, then check your answer with mine. So pause the video, then unpause when you're done. All right, well, first thing I'm going to do, I've got two ordered pairs here, -4, -1, and 8, -4. I'm going to label them. So this is my x1, y1. This is my x2, y2. And then I'm going to plug them into slope formula, m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So m equals y2 is -4 minus y1 is -1 over x2, which is 8, minus x1, which is -4. So I notice I got a couple double negatives here, so go ahead and get rid of those. So I've got on the top -4 plus 1, which is -3. On the bottom, I've got that double negative, get rid of that. 8 plus 4, which is 12. Now I notice that this can be simplified down. They both have a common factor of 3, so I'm going to divide that by 3. So -3 divided by 3 is -1, and 12 divided by 3 is 4. So my slope, or m, equals -1/4. Well, now I've got my slope, and I've got a point. I don't know the y-intercept, so I'm going to go ahead and plug it into point-slope form. So I've got y minus, my y1 is -1, equal to m, which is -1/4, times x, that stays the same, minus x1, which is -4. Well, I noticed right away, hey, I've got some double negatives here, so let's get rid of those first. So those need to become positive. So y plus 1 equals -1/4 times x plus 4. Well, that would be the simplified version of point-slope form. But again, let's get that practice of getting down to slope-intercept form. So the first thing I want to do, clear my parentheses through distribution. So -1/4 times x is -1/4 x. And then -1/4 times +4. Well, that's like taking 4 and dividing it by 4, because that's going to become -4/4. And -4/4 is the same as -1. And then that's all equal to y plus 1. Well, last thing I need to do, get the y by itself, so I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. That causes those to cancel, and I'm left with y equals -1/4 x. -1 minus 1 is -2. All right. Okay, well, if you have any additional questions on those ones specifically, let me know. But otherwise, let's look at example C and example D here and take a look at that. So example C says f of 4 equals -2 and f of 8 equals 4. Well, if you recall back to that information that we learned before, this is the same as f of x equals y. Those mean the exact same thing. So in place of the x was 4 and in place of the y was -2, so we can write that as an ordered pair. So the ordered pair here would be x coordinate of 4, comma, y coordinate of -2. My input and my output. And I could do the same over here. This is like x and this is like y. So I've got an ordered pair of 8, comma, 4. So now I've got my two ordered pairs, so now I can follow exactly what I did in example A and example B. So example A, first thing I did is labeled my ordered pairs, or in A or B. So I'm going to call this one x1, y1, and x2, y2. And I've got that information there. And now I'm going to move this up so I've got more room to work with and you guys can see it a little bit better. Right, and I'm going to plug it into the slope formula. So m equals y2, which is 4, minus y1, which is -2, over x2, which is 8, minus x1, which is 4. Then I need to simplify it down. Well, 4 minus -2, that's like 4 plus 2, which is 6, over 8 minus 4, which is 4. Well, I know both 6 and 4 have a common factor of 2, so I'm going to divide them both by 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. So 3/2 is the simplified version of the slope. Well, now I've got the information I need. I've got a point, I've got a slope to plug it into the point slope form. And so I'm going to plug that in. So y minus y1, which is -2, equal to m, which is 3/2, times x minus x1, which is 4. Well, I see here that I've got a y minus a -2, so I'm going to turn that into a +2. So y plus 2 equals 3/2 times x minus 4. And then I need to distribute to get rid of the parentheses. So 3/2 times x is 3/2 x. 3/2 times -4, well, that's really like -4 over 1. So 3 times -4 is -12 over 2 over 1, 2 times 1, excuse me, which is 2. So that really even simplifies down even more. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So I've got -6 there. And that's all equal to y plus 2. Well, last thing I want to do is I need to get the y by itself. So I'm going to subtract 2 and subtract 2. So I'm left with y equals 3/2 x. -6 minus 2 is -8. So all the way down to slope-intercept form, I've got y equals 3/2 x minus 8. All right, now again, if on your assignments or homework, if all it asks you for is point slope form, I would have simply stopped right here. This is simplified down. Y plus 2 equals 3/2 times x minus 4. That would have been enough if all they want is point slope form. Now we're just getting the practice in of going down into slope-intercept form. So if they ask for it in slope-intercept form, this would be the continued stages. All right, well, I'd encourage you to try example D on your own, then check your answer with mine. So example D says g of 2 equals 3 and g of 6 equals 5. Now sometimes this can get people because we've been working with f's. G is just another form of a function, so it means the same thing. This is still the x, this is still the y, same here, still the x, still the y. So I can write ordered pairs. So 2, 3 is the ordered pair here, and 6, 5 is the ordered pair there. Well, I've got 2 points, so that means I can use my slope formula. So label my points, x1, y1, x2, y2. And then plug them into the slope formula. So m equals y2, which is 5, minus y1, which is 3, over x2, which is 6, minus x1, which is 2. And then solve it down. 5 minus 3 is 2, and 6 minus 2 is 4. 2 and 4 both have a common factor of 2, so divide them both by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. So my slope is 1/2. So now I can put it into point slope form because again I don't know the y-intercept at this time. So I'm going to take my x1, y1 and my slope and plug it in. So I've got y minus y1, which is 3, equal to m, which is 1/2, times x minus x1, which is 2. All right, well now I've got what I need. Nothing to really simplify down there in terms of point slope form. So now to get it down to slope-intercept form, I need to clear the parentheses through distribution. So 1/2 times x is 1/2 x, and 1/2 times -2, right? That's the same as -2 divided by 2, which is just -1. And that's equal to y minus 3. Now next step, I need to clear the y, get the y by itself, excuse me. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides. Once I do that, I've got y equals 1/2 x. -1 plus 3 is +2. So y equals 1/2 x plus 2 is slope-intercept form. All right, well again, I just want to point a couple of things out for your assignment. If they ask you specifically just for point slope form, you would stop right there. This is point slope form. If they want it in slope-intercept form, you're going to need to do a few additional steps here, and this is going to take you down to slope-intercept form. Right? So pay attention in the directions of your assignment, what they've asked you for specifically, but you should have enough practice now to figure out your 2 points, use slope formula, plug it into point-slope form, and then if necessary, get it down to slope-intercept form. All right, well, if you have any additional questions, let me know. Otherwise, continue on in the chapter.